Yes.
That's called it's old software on the show. They should have probably done a show station. And so each of them is all about what's
I love that. That is so cool.
A year.
Oh, I love it. It's so cool. Sorry. Tell her she did a good job.
I can go back.
when it's streaming and everything's operating, it adds this link here. Click on that. YouTube. That's it. Now it's going to just be over. You have our sound. You should be able to hear residual. Can you hear it?
Last thing, Anthony, is we need to log in all of the supervisors. You go turn on all our machines. If they're off, if they're like that, or if they're asleep, press the power button and turn them on.
Is there a default username?
Hi, Mike.
That's all right. Hey, take your time.
Name and password for
Mike, I'd like to introduce you to somebody.
Hi.
This is Anthony
Nice to meet
Cardona.
you.
Nice to meet you, Anthony.
He's our new business analyst. He'll be
Good.
supporting the board and
Good.
CAO. So
Good. Welcome aboard.
a little more people to support you now.
So default username and password for all the machines?
It's their username and password. It's very confidential. We need to, obviously.
Yeah.
What I do is I have on their machine, I have a link under their favorites to go directly to the page. And then when you're on that page, what we load is the agenda. Passwords later. The stream is working. Log in here real
They
quick.
work
Phil.
today?
Yes.
After I get through. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Just instruct him to do so. I'm not gonna call him, just have him reintroduce him to come up or something like that. Okay. That's part of the deal.
Be out of your way in just 1 second.
Hey, do you mind if I get Alan to present this to you since Alan was there
Sheriff.
and stuff like that? Okay, Alan's- Thanks, bud. Here you go. Yeah, well, that's great. Who's going to speak? Are you going to speak on behalf of you guys? Okay. Great. I'm going to. Alan.
Okay. We're meeting now.
I'll introduce him. Just let him take it once he's done.
Oh, he's got it. That's right.
Just look at me.
Just give him the look. Just go here.
The look. Holy cow, look at this.
Who's that for? The shirt?
Sitting in a hole. Somebody must have sat here. You know, every time I get up here, it's like that. It's all the way down.
We're gonna have to get off the dais.
Must be a long waisted person whoever sits there. You can sit here over there.
Yeah.
I'm not. Do you want to talk about the mosquito deal?
Thanks.
We can. Yeah, I can.
We have work sessions with the cities.
The way that clock sets, I can't tell if it's 9 up or 1 after. Looks like it might be 1 after, huh? I got 1 after.
I'm on Keen Rail coming up Thursday.
Good morning. We'd like to welcome you to the December 16th and also the final Board of Supervisors meeting for the calendar year of 2008. If you would, please rise with me for the flag salute and remain standing for a moment of silence. Ready? Salute.
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Our first item of business today is a pleasant, exciting one. Our Sheriff's Department was involved in a very special marijuana eradication program this summer, and I'd like to invite our Sheriff, Bill Whitman, and those that if he would like, those that he's brought along with him to step forward. And good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning. Thanks you for inviting us here this morning. It's been some exciting times. I have with me Captain Cleek, Lieutenant Boudreau. You know both of them, and they were responsible for putting Operation Locust together, and they were the ones that drove it home. We had 15 separate organizations throughout the United States that came to Tulare County to help us with our marijuana problem. It took a couple of years to put it all together, and started working on it in January all the way up through August, September. As a result, we were able to eradicate 527,000 marijuana plants. We brought out dump truck loads of, we did a little different this year. We tried to bring the infrastructure out. The garden hose, the propane tanks, the dump, the trash. We brought out an awful lot of it. We brought out 29 miles of the black irrigation hose. So when they come back, they'll find their hose is gone. We made 53 arrests. I think we confiscated well over 20 guns, and we still are investigating the sales of the marijuana at this time. But these are the folks that really made it happen. And I want to tell you a little story. We went to Washington, D.C. last week, as you know, a week before, and to present Operation Locust to the marijuana initiative, and there were people from all over the United States there. Lieutenant Boudreau presented our side of it, and he did a wonderful job. I was very, very pleased. All the men and women that worked on that project, the STEP unit, everybody, there was just so many people working involved in it. But it was very impressive, and very impressive. And afterwards, I got a call from the drug czar asking me to have Lieutenant Boudreau come back the following Wednesday and meet with the President of the United States and 10 other people to present a short version of Locust. And he went back and met with the President, and I think they solved the drug problem between the two of them. Did a great job, and I just want to say that Lieutenant Boudreau, Captain Cleek, is just another fine example, as you all know, of the men and women in this organization, the talent that exists in this organization, the dedication, the loyalty, the hard work that our deputies do in the field to keep our county safe. And with that, we would like to give this to the board when we got back. And we're not going to give it to you, actually. We're just going to let you look at it. This is we understand. So we'll pass it around so you can see it.
Thank you. Supervisor Ishida has something that he would like to present to you as well. While he's making his way down, the red and black tape you see there was put up at the request of Lieutenant Boudreau there as a means of providing us with safety from you, the public. So, I just don't throw a shoe, right, Sheriff?
On behalf of the Board of Supervisors, I'd like to present you this proclamation honoring the effort that we made on Operation Locust. It's been a long road. I believe that back in 2005, the Board of Supervisors started to lobby our elected representatives in Washington, D.C. to have an operation like this in Tulare County. And the hardest thing we had to deal with was the different silos that every law enforcement agency was in, because the Park Service had one law enforcement group, the National Forest had another, the DEA, and it was very difficult to get those people to work together. But after talking with them for several years, they finally were able to get the silo to lower the silos, and they were able to work together. And I think with that opportunity, we had a very successful Operation Locust. And what's really gratifying is not the $1.5 billion wholesale value of the marijuana plants that you eradicated, is the fact that you arrested over 50 suspects. In the past, we've mainly eradicated plants, and we hadn't arrested that many people. But I think from those arrests, I think we're still seeing the fruits of those arrests and the intelligence that was gathered during this operation. I remember for a couple months when I knew this Operation Locust was going on, it was like one of those black ops operations that we just didn't talk about it. But in the meetings that I attended, the staff, the sheriff's staff, and all the law enforcement officers and the National Guard that were there, they communicated with each other in truly a professional manner that you rarely see when you have 14 different agencies on a joint operation. I was extremely proud of our men. We just ran a professional operation, and I think that's why Boudreaux gets to spend 2 hours with the president, and the rest of us, we watch him on TV. But I want to thank the Sheriff's Department for their successful operation and perseverance. And as we learned from our U.S. Attorney, we'll be back next year. So thank you very much. They get to take theirs with them, don't they?
Put a little more guys in this when we started the operation.
Oh, yeah, I got to ride in Black Hawk helicopters too. That's pretty neat. Thank the board, thank you for all your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work.
The resources you allow us to have, money, whatever we were able to achieve, everybody's input is what made it successful. But they know Tulare County and Washington, D.C. They know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Other
you.
members, would you like to say something, Enos?
Well, yeah, I think it's, what a great program, and, this has been an ongoing problem for many, many years. But also, when we hit these people to go in and clean these places up and get rid of the pollution, which is polluting our mountains and our water. So it's a threefold program, and thank you for all your hard work, and what we'll probably continue to do in the future and take a big bite out of this cartel that wants to raise this marijuana in our county. So thank you so much for your hard work. It's very much appreciated by all the citizens of Tulare County. Thank you.
Hard to imagine that we talk about the fact there are more cows in Tulare County than there are people, but now we have another thing to add. There are more marijuana plants in Tulare County than there are people, about 1.25 per person.
There were.
Yes, there were. A lot of things positive about this. Of course, the efforts that have been made in the past have borne fruition through this, what's happened more recently, but the idea that, as Supervisor Ishida said, that we were able to make more arrests instead of just eradicate plants, the fact that we could remove infrastructure so that people coming back next year to try to start up their gardens will find that they don't have the infrastructure in place that they've had sometimes in the past. And I guess, the the future is what's important to all of us. I mean, it's great to have had this great year, but now what's in play for next year? It's helpful. We know we have more enforcement officers on the national forests. So there's a lot of infrastructural things that have been accomplished by this project, and our hope, of course, I'm sure the sheriff's office too, is that next year there won't be 500 and some thousand plants. That they'll be cut in half or 3/4 or something. We know they'll be back, but again, thanks for the work that was done this time, and we look forward to next year and getting ahead of the curve on this problem.
I'll just very briefly, this was thinking out of the box, a 360-degree approach. Not only did these guys go in and pull the plants and the infrastructure, but another crew went behind them repairing the damage done by these gardens, so in restoring those natural lands back to their natural conditions. So I think this was a wonderful opportunity, and we're thankful to the sheriff that you and your team were able to lead the way in this endeavor, and we're very proud of the fact that that your organization was able to receive some recognitions, and especially Lieutenant Boudreau for helping to head up this project. Very impressive for those that were able to go onto the site where all the investigation was happening and the picture taking was happening. It was very interesting and very impressive operation to see. So congratulations, Sheriff, to you and your crew. At this time, we'll move to item number 2, public comments. I do have a request from John Stimkowski, the Celebrant Singers, to address the board.
Good morning.
Good morning. If you could pull that around, thank you.
I'll do it. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come this morning. I really hadn't anticipated doing this, but you folks did a very, very nice thing for the Celebrant Singers in the last week, and I was absolutely shocked. Not that you would do such a thing, but that it happened, and that it happened so quickly. As you know, and you've been so kind to acknowledge the fact over the last 30-some years, the Celebrant Singers is an organization that attracts young people from all over the world, and they come and they dedicate their time, and they're involved in world missions. And you've acknowledged that very beautifully, and many of you have attended our events, and we thank you for that. Most of the time, this particular need would have been met through just general revenues, and it would have been easy to do. But as we all know, both I think at the municipality level, at the county level, and in nonprofits, that revenue streams are weak at the very best at this point. We had a need for a vehicle, and one of our volunteers, who volunteers in our office every day, knew that we were ostensibly on a list as a nonprofit to receive various items from the county, and he made an appeal that perhaps you'd consider giving us a vehicle. And obviously we would write a letter of thanks, which I've also brought, but Joe said to me, why don't we go and say thank you in person? And it reminded me of a biblical story of 10 lepers, and only one came. I don't know if you gave away 10 cars, but you gave one, and I'm just grateful and thankful, and I appreciate your more the gesture and the support and the commendation than anything. But we appreciate it very, very much, and that's the sole reason for coming this morning. So it's an attaboy. God bless you, and thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. And to whom do I give this letter?
To our clerk. Thank you very much for coming today. We appreciate that. I have no other request for public comment, but is there anyone else that would like to address the board on items that are not on the agenda today? I ask you to come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment period. Go to the Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Ennis, for supervisor matters.
Yes, we had another mosquito abatement meeting yesterday in Lindsay. We're moving forward. We're going to have study sessions with the Lindsay City Council and the Porterville City Council, and hopefully I'll be having a town meeting with the Springville area to update them on what we're trying to do, and hopefully get everybody on board where at least we can put a survey out to the communities over there to see if they would receive an abatement and would be able to approve it if we put it on the ballot. So I think it's a very worthwhile thing. Alan and I both had said that we wanted to put it out there for the people, let them make the decision. I did have a lot of calls from people concerned about West Nile and the different diseases that the mosquitoes do carry, and who knows what they'll be carrying in the future. So I think it's a good program, so we're going to hopefully get a survey out, find out what the people want to do, and if the people want it, then we'll move forward. If they don't, then that's their discretion. Thank you.
I really don't have anything today.
Mr. Chairman, last Friday, as I mentioned last week, the California Air Resources Board was considering adoption of rules that affect the trucking industry, and those rules were adopted. They are going to have a profound impact on the trucking industry of the San Joaquin Valley and the state in general. The requirements are such that there will be a big turnover in our trucks to meet the new rules beginning, I think, as early as 2011. So this puts the Air Board, our local Air Board, the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District, in a rather interesting situation. We're all aware of the state's financial problems, the counties, the municipalities and their problems. Last year, a bill was passed. It was introduced by Juan Arambula that enabled the Air District, our local district, to raise the registration fees on all vehicles in the San Joaquin Valley. That's San Joaquin Valley south to Kern County by a sum of $26. And those funds would be used to assist the industry, large truck owners. That's not just businesses, but it could also include municipalities, counties. We have a lot of trucks too, which are going to be out of compliance, as will be many number of cities and other counties, to help work through those problems by providing some matching funds. But it is a difficult situation because obviously no one likes additional taxes, no one likes to pay additional DMV fees, but there will be a direct benefit back to our industry in this valley. So just wanted to alert the board to that situation and the public. That will be coming before the board as early as next March, I believe. That's it.
Great, thank you. I do have two quick items in reference to the step-up activities that have been taking place. Last week, the executive committee had a debrief on the youth summit that was held here in Visalia this last month, and it was reported we had, I believe, 956 youth from throughout the county attend that event. It was a very successful event. We had one minor altercation between a couple of youths who actually knew each other, played together as kids, bumped each other in the hallway and said, "Hey," and that was it. But it was interesting to find out these kids were friends, liked each other, had known each other for many, many years. They just got egged on by their buddies. "Hey, don't let him look at you like that." But very successful event. And that brings me to my next item, is we do enter these tough budget times, and has been stated, we are having to deal with shortfalls in our funding and income. I would like to urge this board to continue funding the step-up activities that we've been doing. It's compared to the overall budget's a relatively small amount, but as we come into the next year, we anticipate probably having at least a 10% savings from the funding. But I'd like to urge this board to continue to support those efforts and to make sure that we do have the funding to have these events and these activities countywide to help keep our youth and young people out of our detention facilities.
Supervisor Cox.
Yes, sir. Thought of something after
Yeah,
all,
you
huh?
reminded me of something. Something that's very dear to our hearts is the budget, the state budget and the federal budget. We not only need to think about how we spend money, and I would hopefully engage the audience, the fact that we need environmental relief, study relief from CEQA. As an example, the bond that we passed to do the levees in the Delta, for 50 cents on every dollar is going to go to environmental mitigation. That means a lot of jobs and a lot of miles that we could be repairing that levee but it goes into studies. After being here 4 years, I firmly believe that there is enough money in the state budget and the federal budget if we would just get rid of some of these impediments that we have, that the legislature and the state government, the legislature and the federal government have put on us to accomplish what we need to do with infrastructure. Next issue that we're going to be facing that's growing is mitigation, land mitigation. So when we build Road 80, which we all know we need, we have to buy extra land to mitigate the land that we're using for the road. So that doesn't go very far to create jobs and keep our economy going. So we would appreciate any influence that you may have on the state legislature, that we do need CEQA relief. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll go to our consent calendar. We are going to pull item number 29 for future consideration. Item 32 has a correction. It needs to state Phase 9 instead of Phase 8, a minor correction there. And then we have one addendum item to add to our consent calendar.
Move approval, Mr. Chairman, absent item 29 and with the correction and the addendum.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Cast your votes. Approved unanimously, 4-0. We will next move to our untimed item number 34, a request from County Administrative Office Capital Projects to award a contract for the History of Farm Labor and Agriculture Museum project. Mr. Summers.
Good morning. Brian Summers, Senior Capital Projects Coordinator. The item before your board this morning is just that, a request to award the History of Farm Labor and Agriculture Museum project to Webb & Son Corporation of Porterville. They were the low bidder. On December 2nd, 12 bids were received and open. That's about double what we've been receiving lately. And as I stated, Webb & Son submitted the low base bid in the amount of $2,333,000. And they also submitted a very competitive bid for bid alternate 1 and the amount of $90,000 for the installation of a solar power system installed on the museum. The total project budget that was established this fiscal year was $3,150,000, and that includes both design costs, master plan costs, as well as the construction costs. And in light of that, staff is recommending that you award the base bid and bid alternate 1 in the amount of $2,423,000 to Webb & Son. The project duration is slated for 247 days and is scheduled to be completed on September 9th, 2009. Also, with the bids coming in at the amount they did, staff is asking your permission to explore the possibility of completing the elevator full build-out in this phase. Originally, what we have in the bid documents is to put the infrastructure for the elevator in, the pit, the shaft walls, some structural members, but install the remaining components, the car, the controls, etc., in a subsequent phase when we expand the museum. And if we can find a cost-effective manner to do that, we'd like to look into that, see if we could complete it in this phase so that when we open on September 9th, we've got a fully functional elevator and the mezzanine is fully accessible. And that concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to respond to any questions.
Any questions? One quick one. If we put this elevator in, how many square feet does that open up to be used on day one?
Well, the mezzanine itself, I think, is around 1,900 square feet, which really would be accessible from an ADA compliant standpoint. We're not at this point finishing out any of the 7,000 feet of shelved space, but that is what will be available for future build-out, is 7,000 square feet on the second story.
Great, thank you.
To me, it's important to finish the elevator part, because you're going to find that you're going to be moving a lot of material, maybe not open the mezzanine, but you'll be moving material to storage. And that elevator come in handy of
Definitely.
moving.
Agree?
Just my only point was that obviously the item on our agenda does not include the elevator. You're only asking for direction from the board to consider that for future action.
Yes, sir. We've had some discussions with County Council on exactly what process. Obviously, there's the change order process, but we're looking to explore other options. Could we do a separate bid package and let that out to the elevator subcontractors? So as soon as we've got some feedback from them and have a process developed, we can move forward at that point.
My favorite words, change order.
Well, Brian, have you got any idea what the elevator would cost? Just a
The last estimate that we have prepared for the project estimated at around $80,000 to $85,000. Those were not 100% bid documents, so they're probably a little incomplete. We're hopeful that we can bring it in somewhere around the $100,000 mark, and that's complete.
Chairman, I'd move approval of item 34 and with the direction to the staff to look into the completion of the elevator project as well.
second.
Moved by Supervisor Worthley, seconded by Supervisor Innes. Cast your votes. Well, Supervisor Innes is having,
yes.
second thoughts.
It's
To
yes.
approve 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll now move to item number 35, a presentation regarding our county tourism program. Mr. Coyne.
Good morning. Thank you for an opportunity to review what we've done with tourism in the last year. I'm the tourism manager, of course. When you assigned me this task last fall in August '07, you set some goals for what you expected to be accomplished. One was to, of course, increase tourism and recreational visits to the county, to increase tourism revenue. Tourism spending by visitors is an excellent way to bolster the local economy and to bring new dollars in. Also to work internally to get people to visit their neighbors and maybe discover parts of the county that they hadn't explored yet. Another important goal, you charged me with working collaboratively with our local partners. We have many of those partners here today, representatives of chambers, of the national parks, the U.S. Forest Service, our County Economic Development Corporation, and other groups. And I think that it was obvious. Why start from scratch? There's some obvious efforts that have worked, and let's leverage that and do more and do it better. So the other thing was to develop a tourism program identity. What are we trying to do? Keep a sharp focus and focus on positive outcomes. And an important other goal was to create a positive awareness of the county. Obviously, we want to bolster the economy and increase visits, but this effort works to promote Tulare County as a positive place to live. We're blessed with a lot of scenic wonders, and we're proud of that. So how did we do that? These are some of the tourism activities we completed this past year. We partnered with some of the local chambers and worked collaboratively to help support trade missions to the Bay Area Travel Show and to the Los Angeles Travel Show. This was important because this is a place, sure, you meet some people that are residents that are looking for a place to vacation, but more importantly, it's a chance to reach out and touch upon tour operators and people who recommend vacations and package vacations. So I think that was a positive result. We also looked at, well, I won't go through them all, but I do want to highlight some of them. One in particular is the Sequoia Adventure Expo. This was an idea that grew out of a table discussion with our partners. The primary partner on this was the Visaya Visitor and Convention Bureau. And what we were talking about back when the economy was still good was stay local, play local, spend local, explore our region. When we were trying to attract that international visitor or somebody from out of state, let's not forget that possibly people in Porterville don't know everything there is to know about Springville, or maybe they know their next door neighbor, but maybe they aren't as familiar with Three Rivers or the state park in Allensworth. So the goal of the Sequoia Adventure Expo was to host a tourism fair, a regional tourism fair at the Visay Convention Center. We had I don't know, it was at least 70 vendors. I'm looking back there to Glenn Moore, so if I'm wrong, he'll nod his head the other way. I think we had more than 70 vendors that represented everything from backcountry pack and horseback pack stations to the national parks to all of our chambers talking about their local events and seasonal events. And we did 2 other projects as part of this, and that's where some of these images came from. We partnered with the VCB and our other partners to hold a photo contest so that we could showcase some of our sites, and who better than our residents to help us with that effort. And, you know, that worked out, I think, very, very well for us. We've used a lot of these photos, and you're going to see some of them in some of the next projects, such as the Capitol display. Talking about creating a countywide identity, we try to work collaborative and come up with a brand that would work for what we want to do. And I think it was important here to think not as an agency, County of Tulare, but to think about this as a place, you know, Tulare County, because while it says Tulare County, it works for all of our member organizations, whether it's one of our 8 cities or our communities or our national parks. We all talk about where we're from. And obviously we want to suggest to people, go have an adventure, get outside and see what's out there. One of the goals that we wanted to do was to upgrade our county display at the state capitol. And it had been last updated in '92 and was quite dated. Well, this was another spirit of collaboration. We partnered with the College of the Sequoias architectural program and ran a competition. We awarded some scholarships to the 2 semifinalists who combined their designs into a new display in the Capitol. This display focuses on what's special about all our communities, our great outdoors with our parks, state, local, federal, and the monument, and also culture. Not every county can boast of having a symphony or the live theater that we do in all our communities. And you'll see here that there's a digital picture frame that showcases hundreds of images that were collected during our photo contest. So we think it's a great way to give a virtual peek at our county. This was a momentous year for Allensworth, one of our smaller communities that has a very important role in national history. And as we celebrated the centennial of the founding of the community of Allensworth, we partnered again with state parks, the California Parks Foundation, the Legislative Black Caucus, and also our County Office of Education to celebrate the centennial. We did this in 2 major ways. We hosted a VIP reception at the library because there aren't a lot of facilities per se at the park. They have, I think, about 15 electrical outlets to work with. And so it was a chance to showcase our new library and host people, including the founding director of the Smithsonian, their African American Museum. So it was a chance to not only rally the flag for our only state historic park, but also to showcase our community as a whole. We also partnered earlier that morning with a project called Then and Now with County Office of Education, and we brought in kids from 2 counties to do learning experiences in the park. And we're partnering now with promoting the park in a more positive way in our EMAP project that we're going to. The EMAP is an interactive map of the county. This was another idea I wish I could take credit for, but I go to these table discussions and listen to our partners, and we try to figure out what will work best for everybody at the table. And this was an idea that was suggested to me. It's something that has not been done in a public arena anywhere that I can find other than Fairfax, Virginia. So we developed an interactive map that features all 8 of our communities, our cities. It also features Three Rivers, Springville, and other communities in our county. It features 7 county, state, and national parks, Success and Quia Lakes, the National Monument, 7 museums, and we keep finding new things to put on here. So a very important aspect, while we like to say we're the size of the state of Connecticut in landmass, we also have, I believe, the largest Indian reservation in the state of California right here. And that is a tourist attraction all in and of itself. We're very proud to have them on the map. And then we've looked at probably the biggest attraction to our county, other than our national parks and the monument, is the World Ag Expo. And so that's, by putting them on the map, we think that we'll have a synergy that will, if the World Ag Expo markets the map, well, Three Rivers and Springville and all our other communities go along for the ride. So this map, how will it be used? Of course, if you go to Tulare-County-EMAP.com, you can see it right now. You can also email the link to anybody you like. All our partners will have expressed an interest in featuring it on their websites, and of course you'll get to it from our county webpage. This is what the map looks like, and I'm going to hope that I can do this right. Okay, so this is the real test, is does it work? You'll see there's a map key up here. This function, this is still a work in progress. You'll see lists here by commodity, by focus points. But let's just go, since we're driving here, we're going to showcase Mooney Grove Park, our park. What makes this a little different, this technology, is it allows us to do a virtual tour of something. And while you can use the directional arrows to change the area or something, you can also click in this. You can take a virtual tour of whatever it is you're looking at. So maybe you're looking at arbors, maybe you're looking at the boat tours. But then you can also scroll down, you find out a little bit more about the park, and you can go to thumbnails to see different views. This takes you right into our Tulare County Museum, and you can read about the basket collection and take another look at this. You can also supersize this, which I'm not going to do here, but it will fill a full-size plasma screen if you really want to get in and read the plaques on the walls or whatever you'd like to do. We have another view of the museum. And then going back to item 34, the museum we were talking about that you're just going to bid, this is what it's going to look like. Tells you a little bit about the focus and the details of the museum and what we will do with it. What's nice about this is every spot has focus areas, and in the bottom corner, so my phone doesn't ring off the hook, it sends you to the relevant point of contact. For the museum, it sends you to our Parks and Recreation Department, and you can look at their page or call somebody. If you're at the National Parks, it sends you to the National Parks website and how to call somebody. So I think that this is live now. It's grown to encompass, we have separate highlighted features for museums, as I talked about the county parks, all the state parks, the reservation. I think you'll find a lot to show and tell here. And, oh yeah, we're on the web. So going back to the presentation, that's something that's live today, and we've got a couple of spots we're still adding things to, but I think this will be a living project that'll grow. Looking forward, these are some of the recommended projects we want to do for next year. Some of this money is already spent. We will finish the map. We bill in arrears for what's being done. I'm recommending we do some EMAP enhancements. It may be in the form of another layer of the map, or taking this technology and saying, what is the next best logical, project to do with that, working with the group. We want to market the EMAP and the Go Play campaign. We're continuing, we want to have support for some of the trade show missions. The Amgen bike race that's coming to town, we want to be a sponsor of that. That's with Lance Armstrong. They'll bring an army, and hopefully they'll spend a lot of money. And you'll see there's quite a few other projects that we could go into. We want to continue the funding, helping to fund the State Fair exhibit, and we're preparing now for April 30th when we'll help the Visalia Visitor and Convention Bureau host the second Sequoia Adventure Expo. So that's some of the projects looking forward that we want to complete. Before I get to your questions, With your permission, we had two people who wanted to speak about how we've worked collaboratively. We have a representative from the Springville Chamber, the Sequoia Foothill Chamber, and also from the Tule River Reservation. Larry?
Good morning. I'm Larry Galuppi. I'm the Director of Community Planning for Tule River Indian Reservation. I and some other people that work for the tribe staff has been working with Eric on this project, and it's been a collaborative effort. As you can see, the tribe's reservation is on the map. Also included in there is the one of the tribe's economic building points, and also the newest one is the trading post, and also what's the third one?
We have Aero Industries.
Oh, Aero Industries too. So it's just not Eric working on this on behalf of the tribe. You know, we're part of the tribe as part of Tulare County, and as a member of the community and as a staff for the tribe, I think it's a really exciting project for the county as a whole, and I hope we continue the relationship with this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Joanna Kamansky. I'm president of the Sequoia Foothills Chamber of Commerce. And I want to congratulate you, Eric, on the work that you've done on here, working with the partners to launch the EMAP. It's an absolutely fabulous piece of work and enticing, I think, for folks to look at. And coming from a Chamber of Commerce that has a website that needs an enormous amount of work, it's really nice to know that there are links out there like this that can really show people what's going on out in the communities, not only in Three Rivers, but really, when I went on there, I looked at Three Rivers because that's what I was representing, and then I just started clicking around. And I've lived in the county for 7 years, and I pathetically have to admit that I've not been everywhere. But I didn't even know about that basket collection, for example. And when I saw that last week, I was just blown away, and I started looking around. So I'm really especially happy to see something like that because we're a volunteer Chamber of Commerce. We have eight people on the board of directors, and everyone is volunteering their time to try to help improve the economic health of the region. And I think that when you have collaborative efforts like this, it's really important. And the Chamber puts a lot of effort into working with its partners, either through the Gateway effort with the national parks or with the county or the Sequoia Valley Visitors Council or the Convention and Visitors Bureau. That's the way that we can get a lot of our work done. I'd also like to take a moment to thank you all for your recent sponsorship of the travel and trade shows that the Sequoia Foothills Chamber will be attending. The Sequoia Valley Visitors Council is attending as well, and they were able to go with the Central Valley Tourism Board, which represents Central Valley, and Three Rivers and Springville are not in the Central Valley, so they couldn't participate. So your help helps us represent the foothill portion of our county and bring some awareness there as well, and will complement the other booths that are going to the show. So thank you all again for that support and sponsorship. And as we look forward into 2009, I'm really looking forward to being able to work more collaboratively, and I'm going to look around the room because we have a lot of tourism partners here in the room, and I really look forward to using 2009 as a time that we can channel our efforts better, collaborate better, reduce redundancy better, and those sorts of things. And I think this is a neat start with the EMAP. No one else is doing that, and it certainly is not something that our chamber could have taken on. And so thank you for that.
And of course, I would welcome any questions. If you have any questions about anything we've talked about or...
Board, any questions?
I just had a comment, Eric. This is a lot of excitement, I know, up in my district about this particular map. It's kind of interesting. You don't think of Dinuba as being a gateway community, but in fact, from Southern California, if you're accessing Hume Lake, Kings Canyon, Sequoia National Parks, Pine Flat Lake, it is in fact a gateway community. And so I look forward to perhaps the way, we are Tulare County, but we are also a gateway to areas outside of Tulare County. And so I know we have some pictures of Hume Lake, for instance, that are in there. That's in Fresno County, but it benefits our economic development and our tourism to promote those areas that are outside of the county, but the county has a direct correlation there. Same thing coming from or from Kern County as you're coming into Tulare County. I remember seeing a book sometime back that was given to us about a beautiful pictorial book about Kern County, and here was just one big page of giant sequoias. I thought, I don't remember giant sequoias in Kern County. They were in Tulare County, but they, their access is up into Tulare County from Kern County. They actually just sort of look at that as being part of their backyard, part of their own community. And so I think we need to, likewise take advantage of those opportunities that they're outside of our county, but if we can bring them somehow to the map to show that Tulare County is your county, your access point to reach these other locations, I think it will help all of our tourism folks. So, good project and a good job.
Supervisor Cox? When I was elected 4 years ago, and part of my district is Three Rivers, and Three Rivers is the largest generator of bed tax in the county. And I was often asked, well, you're collecting this tax, what are you doing with the money? Well, at that point in time, we were using the money to supplement our contract with CAL FIRE. So we didn't have any money to put into tourism, and because we went to a county fire department, and we did save a substantial amount of money forming our own fire department, we were able to bring some of that money back out to help tourism. In my experience in Three Rivers, one of the issues we had was keeping your websites up. It takes a tremendous amount of work to do that. And the other part of the question was, who's going to see it? Well, now with this map that we have of Tulare County, you can be assured that people will see your website. So it should add motivation to upgrade the individual websites that are linked from this map. It's very difficult to put your heart and soul into a website for a small community, not knowing if anybody's ever going to look at it. But now, I think there are local people who will tour our county by looking at this map, and I think we have accomplished that. I remember when I served on the Sierra Nevada Conservancy Board that we would have meetings out in nowhere. So I would get on the internet and I would look up that community to see where to stay, what the community had to offer. And I think this is our entry into that marketing program of having a great internet site to direct tourists to where they not only look at the community that they may have a meeting at, but they'll look at the surrounding communities. And I encourage everyone to take a look at this website because, like Eric said, there's only one other place that we know of that has this type of website. And I think in the future, it's going to get a lot larger. And after people see it, they're going to want to participate. And I look at Dinuba, and we put the golf course on there. But that golf course has a dual function. It is also a water recharge. So we can keep adding to this website. And thank you very much for all your work that you've done on it, Eric, and thank you for all the people who worked with you out in our different communities to put this together.
Vice Rennes.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank you for all your hard work. I know you would call me in from time to time and show me different things you were doing and how you would pan rooms and things. It's great. I really think this could be a big tool if we could get this EMAP like the State Fair and put it in our display, actually work it into our display. Same way with the Farm Equipment Show. Because I tell you, there's thousands and thousands of people that go to that State Fair and they walk around and look at those exhibits, and that could be a real tool to draw people into Tulare County and have them come down here. So EMAP is probably, I tell you, that's sensational. It's only going to get better, and you did a great job.
Is Kenny Meadows on it?
Yeah. Yeah. But no, you did a great job, and really appreciate all your efforts.
I'm glad you mentioned a farm show because we're partnering. We've been talking to the city of Tulare that has a booth with power And we're talking about putting an interactive information kiosk on display there all during the show to showcase the EMAP. And so I think we'll work with all our tourism partners, as we did last year with the World Ag Expo promotion, to use that as a tool to help with all our regional marketing efforts.
Well, thank you. I think this points out as well that this board has become more proactive in giving direct direction and having our staff take a hold of projects like this and to create this collaboration. So also I want to commend Eric on getting this started before the first one of our conversations I had with him a while back is if this isn't up and running by January 1st, you're going to be walking on the sidewalk somewhere else.
I think you made that clear. I'd be mowing a lawn if I was lucky.
So great job. And we want to thank all the partners that collaborated in this effort. One question, do we have a hit counter? A visitor counter on there?
It's a behind-the-scenes thing. One of the things that the technology gurus said is by having a unique URL, it not only helps with searching, but it should be able to tell us on a monthly basis and on a yearly basis who goes to the site. And since the exciting part about this, birthing the map is one thing, but this is going to be a living document because all the local chambers and our partners, as they change their map daily, hourly, the map changes and it incorporates those changes. And because they'll be putting it on their sites, we expect a lot of viral marketing. It's all about collaborating. So it'll be very interesting to come back next year and tell you how many people actually went to the map.
Great. Well, thank you very much. One quick item. Soon to be Supervisor Vanderpool, are you aware of the fire? Okay. I want to take our second addendum item. It will be a very quick item before we move to our timed items. We'll call on Rhonda Sostrom and Eric Martin from our HR. We'll take now addendum item number 2 under items not timed.
Okay, good morning, Board. My name is Eric Martin, Human Resource and Development, and we were directed several weeks ago to go back and negotiate with the attorneys group, unit number 8, the G-Law, and I'm glad to announce that we have come to an agreement, which is formulated in the agenda item as the addendum that you have. The wages and benefits were the main points that we did hammer out as far as percentages and agreement, and of course the family sick, that was increased along with the other units, and the agreement goes through June 30th of 2009, and we expect we'll be bargaining back in April of 2009 with this group and several others. So I'll take any questions if you have any.
Questions, Board? Not entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Ennis, second by Mr. Shida.
Thank you.
Cast your votes, 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Martin. That 1.5 minutes is the wrap-up of several months of work, so we want to thank you for that. We'll now move to our 9:30 timed items. Item number 4 is a request from RMA to review and receive public comment in regards to the Neighborhood Stabilization Program.
Mouthful. Laurie Mercer, Resource Management Agency, Community Development and Redevelopment Division. I hope this morning finds you all well. The Board of Supervisors is holding this public hearing to review and receive comments and to solicit input regarding opportunities for the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, NSP, funding that made available by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, through the recent passage of the Housing and Economic Recovery Act of 2008, or HERA. Spanish translation was advertised, however, no one requested these services. A sign-in sheet is available. Though signing is voluntary, we would appreciate you all doing so. Congress allocated $3.92 billion for the Neighborhood Stabilization Program to states and units of local government with the greatest need based on 3 factors: the number and percentage of home foreclosures, the number and percentage of subprime mortgage-related loans, and the number and percentage of homes in default or that were delinquent. HUD made direct allocations to 46 California jurisdictions totaling approximately $529 million, including approximately $145 million to the State Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD. HCD is making those funds available under a 3-tier process with a $1 million minimum allocation. Tier 1 allocations go to jurisdictions that did not receive direct allocations from HUD. Tier 2 allocations go to jurisdictions that did not receive allocations in Tier 1 due to a minimum threshold requirements based on the following priorities: highest percentage of foreclosures, highest percentage of subprime loans, and significant rise in foreclosure rate. Tier 3 allocations go to jurisdictions that can meet HUD's requirement for housing targeted to households at or below 50% of the area median income. The county and the cities within Tulare County, Dinuba, Exeter, Farmersville, Porterville, and Tulare, were included and are eligible to apply for a maximum grant of approximately $2.7 million under Tier 2. Individual allocations available to each jurisdiction are as follows. Tulare County, approximately $1.2 million. Dinuba, $214,000. Exeter, $107,000. Farmersville, $103,000. Porterville, $487,000. And Tulare, $560,000. In addition, any of these jurisdictions may apply for funding under Tier 3, which is an over-the-counter application process. Due to the $1 million minimum application requirement, there are several options available for accessing these funds. The county could apply on its own since its allocation is $1.29 million. The cities could submit a joint application together for the balance. Another option is the county and the cities can combine together for a joint application for $2.7 million. And an additional option would be that Porterville and Tulare could submit a joint application because their allocation would total $1 million threshold for the $1 million threshold, with the remaining jurisdictions submitting an allocation for the balance. Dinuba, Exeter, and Farmersville must partner with other jurisdictions in order for them to meet the minimum requirements. The jurisdictions have met to discuss these options, and decisions are in the process. Regardless of which option is chosen, the county will be the lead agency as required by the program. A joint powers agreement must be executed depending on the chosen option. We will be coming back to you in the future for that information. NSP funding may be used for the following activities: establish financing mechanisms for the purchase and redevelopment of foreclosed homes and residential properties, including such mechanisms as soft seconds, loan loss reserves, and shared equity loans for low and moderate income home buyers. Purchase and rehabilitate homes and residential properties that have been abandoned or foreclosed upon in order to sell, rent, or redevelopment such homes and properties. Establish land banks for homes that have been foreclosed upon. Demolish blighted structures. And finally, redevelop demolished or vacant properties. Housing activities receiving NSP funding must provide and improve permanent residential structures that will be occupied by a household whose income is at or below 120% of the area median income. Area benefit activities receiving NSP funding must benefit all the residents of a primarily residential area in which at least 51% of the residents have incomes at or below 120% of the area median income. Limited clientele activities receiving NSP funding must serve a limited clientele whose incomes are at or below 120% of the area median income. No displacement will occur as a result of the grant funding. Should any assessments resulting from the NSP-funded projects be necessary, they will not be paid by members of the lowest income level. At this time, no assessments are anticipated. Technical assistance for developing proposals may be provided to groups representing low-income persons if such assistance is requested. HCD will disseminate the NSP Notice of Funding Availability and application in January, with a proposed submittal due date for the application in February and awards made in March. This grant has an 18-month deadline for commitment of funds. Program income generated by loan repayments can be reused within 4 years of funding issuance. Any funds returned following that time will have to be returned to the state for return to the federal treasury. As indicated previously, the purpose of the public hearing is to provide the opportunity to ask questions and encourage citizens to express their points of view regarding this opportunity for NSP funding. We have invited members of the public to submit written comments to the Resource Management Agency. All Tulare County programs are implemented in ways that are consistent with the county's general plan and commitment to fair housing and equal opportunity. Applicants are not and will not be discriminated against on the basis of race, color, ancestry, religion, national origin, sex, marital status, or physical handicap. This program, as you can tell, is being run under the overall arching program of the Community Development Block Grant CDBG program, which is why we have to read this address into the public comment period. We would like to thank the cities Dinuba, Exeter, Farmersville, Porterville, and Tulare, and the other partners, California Coalition for Rural Housing, Central Valley Christian Housing, Community Services and Employment Training, Habitat for Humanity, and Self-Help Enterprises for their cooperation in preparing this program, and for the research of staff, in particular Karen Soseda, for the work that's been done in trying to get this put together in a very short time. I look forward to what we might accomplish together. Thank you for the opportunity, and if you have questions, I'm glad to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions, board? Hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. This public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to address this item, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one spring to their feet, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board.
I would move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Ennis. Second by Mr. Worthley. Cast your votes. Passes 4-0. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll now move to our timed item number 5, which is a public hearing. A request also from RMA to certify the board has reviewed and considered information contained in the prior negative deck and special use permit PSP 07070. Welcome.
Good morning. Dana Metlin with RMA Planning Division. The item before you today is a request to change the zoning on 4 parcels comprising a total of 20.82 acres from AE 10, exclusive agricultural 10-acre minimum, to M1SR, light manufacturing, site review combining zone. The request was made by Tough Stuff Products. The subject site is located on the east side of Road 256 at the intersection with Avenue 96 east of Terabella. The reclassification was requested in order to allow the expansion of the existing agricultural plastics recycling operation to include a plastic mold injection manufacturing facility. The subject property is zoned AE10 and contains the agricultural plastics recycling facility, a drainage basin, and fallow land. The surrounding properties are all zoned AE10 and contain orchards and scattered residences. And to the north is a parcel zoned M1SR, which contains a fertilizer plant. The Rural Valley Lands Plan designates the subject site agricultural. Because the project site is bisected by the railroad, the 2 areas of the site were analyzed under separate RVLP parcel evaluations. Under the RVLP point evaluation system, the subject parcels located on the west side of the railroad tracks receive 9 points and may be considered for non-agricultural zoning. The subject parcels on the east side of the tracks receive 14 points and fall within the gray area whereby the Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors shall make the decision based upon the unique circumstances pertaining to that particular parcel of land, including factors not covered by this system. One parcel east of the tracks contains an old wastewater discharge pond from the previous use as a packing house. Neither parcel has been utilized for productive agriculture in nearly 40 years. Allowing this change of zone to proceed will provide an opportunity for economic development within the county. Special use permit number PSP 07-070 was approved on February 27th of this year by the Planning Commission, which permitted a solid waste recycling operation at the site. If this site is approved for M1 zoning, the special use permit will remain in effect because the solid waste recycling operation still requires a use permit in the M1 zone. The proposed future use, plastic mold injection manufacture, is an allowed use in the M1 zone. The Planning Commission at their regular meeting of October 8, 2008 recommended modification to the M1 SR zone. There has not been any opposition to this proposal. And here's a picture of the western portion of the site where the current recycling operation is located. And this view is from the south side of the project area with the Brits fertilizer plant off in the distance. A view looking east across the railroad tracks at the wastewater discharge pond. And this view is looking from the south across the eastern undeveloped portion of the subject property. And subject to any questions you may have, that concludes staff's summary.
Thank you. Any questions of staff, board? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to address this item before the board, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one spring to their feet, we'll close the public hearing and bring this back to the board.
This is a, Mr. Chairman, this is a green company. It's going to be twofold. It's not only going to be able to take these ag plastic products and recycle them, but it's also going to help our landfills because we won't be putting this products into our landfill. So hopefully down the road, this used to be Grandview Heights Packing, was Visalia Citrus, and it's still an actually ag-related because recycling ag products is related to ag and should be very useful to our community and create jobs. I think you'll probably see 100 jobs created out of this in the near future if they get their production going. So I would move for approval on this.
Moved by Mr. Ennis.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ishida. Cast your votes, please. Passes 4-0. Thank you very much.
Do we know if they need rail?
Yes, they do.
They probably a perfect site for having rail run right through the middle of it. Okay, we'll now move to timed item number 6, a request from RMA to approve and authorize the auditor controller to place cost of demolition of 8 structures on 3 properties on the county tax rolls. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Bruce Kendall, Tulare County Code Compliance Manager. This is going to be very short today. We have a brief summary on this, that on January 29th, 2008, we did appear here before your board to have the approval of demolition of a total of 8 buildings on a total of 3 parcels. These buildings were all considered to be dangerous and substandard structures. And that cleanup has been completed. In order to recover the expenditure to complete these abatements that were advanced from the county general fund, the staff requested your board set forth under section 909 of the Uniform Code for Abatement of Substandard and Dangerous Buildings, approve and authorize the Tulare County Auditor Controller to place these costs of demolition of these 8 structures on the tax rolls of Tulare County as identified as follows. We have a property located at 11260 Road 144 in Pixley. This is a total of 5 structures. Total cost to abate was $2,980.03. And the second location was 1333 136 Avenue 72 in Pixley. This is a total of 2 structures. Total cost of abate was $11,110. And the final location was 33059 Road 159 in Ivanhoe. This is a total of 1 structure, and that cost to abate was amounted to $10,939.82. The structures on all these 3 parcels have been abated at a total cost to the county of $25,029.85. All these property owners have been mailed billings for these abatements. We have not received any response from any of the owners on these properties. In an effort to be able to reinforce the county for its cost of abatements, that's what we're looking for, to be able to place this on the Tulare County tax rolls. That concludes my summary. If I have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Any questions? One quick question. They were mailed notices, first class mail or receipt?
We do both ways,
return
first class and certified.
Those certified mail, and we did receive notification they all received.
Yes.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Anybody wishing to address this matter before the board, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. Again, no one springs up to come to the front, so we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the board.
Move approval. Second.
By Mr. Ishida, second by Mr. Worthley. All cast your votes. Approved 4-0. Thank you very much, board. We'll now move to our final public hearing and timed item of the day. It's a request from Resource Management Agency in regards to the Pixley redevelopment plan.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is John Hess with Tulare County Resource Management Agency and also the Tulare County Redevelopment Agency. This is a joint public hearing, so both boards are... Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thanks. This is a joint public hearing, so both boards are considering this simultaneously. The action before you today is for the Pixley redevelopment plan, First Amendment, which we have prepared, the redevelopment agency has prepared, and it includes the addition of 4 territories that would increase the boundaries of the size of the redevelopment area. And those 4 properties are one on the north end, which is the new ethanol plant, one towards the middle, and that's the California Dairies plant, and then the 2 parcels, it kind of makes a square, they're 2 triangular parcels fit together, is one is the new sewer plant, and the other part of the triangle is the Harmon Field Airport, which is a Tulare County parcel owned by the county. So this is the second reading and final adoption to consider adoption of the ordinance. So if there's any questions, I'd like to consider those.
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to address the board on this matter, please step forward. State your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board.
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second. By Mr. Worley, second by Mr. Ennis. Cast your votes. Item is approved 4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Hess, you probably wish they were all this easy, don't you? Okay. We will, at this time, adjourn to closed session, and council, I will turn this over to you for your statement.
Okay, yes, we do have need for closed session. It would be the items on the regular agenda. We do not have need for items A or B, but we do have need for items C, D, and E, and we have need for items F, G, H, I, J, and J on the addendum. There will be a report out.
Thank you very much. Thank you for attending. We'll now adjourn to closed session. Next meeting here in this.
Okay, this is Chief Deputy County Counsel Julia Roberts reporting out on closed session listed as item D on the Tulare County Board of Supervisors December 16, 2008 agenda. It's in the matter of Robert Janeco versus Scott Cox and the Tulare County and the County of Tulare. I'm going to spell that first name. It's Janoiko. Excuse me, that's the last name. of the plaintiff. It is the United States District Court case number 1:060-CV-01405-OWW-GSA. The action of the board was to give approval to legal counsel to provide a defense to the named defendant, which would be Scott Cox, and that would be providing a defense with a reservation of rights. The substance of the litigation is a civil rights violation claim made under 42 U.S.C. 1983. The parties to the litigation are the plaintiff, Robert Janoiko, Janoiko, and then the defendants are the County of Tulare and Deputy Sheriff Officer Scott Cox. And the vote was, the motion to provide the defense with reservation of rights was made by Supervisor Stephen Worthley. It was seconded by Supervisor Mike Ennis, and the vote was 4-0 to approve the District 2 seat being vacant. That's it.